Welcome to the Secret Traditions podcast, where ancient wisdom meets modern minds.
Welcome back. So glad you could join us as we continue our deep dive into the salt of the earth.
It's exciting to be back.
Picking up where we left off. Remember how this book blends, traditional teachings with...
Those fascinating mystical insights, yeah.
Exactly. And it only gets more intriguing from here.
Definitely.
This second half, we're diving into some really deep concepts.
Sacred time, true faith, and how to awaken that divine fire within.
Yeah, buckle up.
It's quite a journey. It really requires us to, shift our whole perspective, to see the world through a different lens, and ultimately to recognize the divine spark within each of us.
That divine spark, yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with when Spirit calls, the journey of awakening. I love how the book uses the story of Samuel hearing God's call. It's so easy to imagine some booming voice from the heavens.
Right.
But the book emphasizes these calls are often so subtle.
Almost like whispers.
Yeah, whispers. Have you ever felt that? Like a nudge or an intuition you couldn't explain?
Oh, absolutely. That's the beauty of it, isn't it? The call's often hidden in plain sight, woven into our daily lives. The challenge is cultivating the awareness to recognize it.
And it's not just paying attention, right?
Mm-hmm.
The book talks about inner preparation.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's creating fertile ground for a seed to grow. You can't just throw a seed on concrete and expect it to flourish.
Exactly. It's about cultivating the inner landscape of our being. The book uses the term chastity.
Right, but it explains it more as...
integrity. An alignment of our thoughts, our emotions, and actions with our deepest spiritual aspirations.
So an ethical code, kind of like the code of honor a knight lives by.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where principles guide actions, not just avoiding certain behaviors.
Okay, so chastity, less about rules and more about living in a way that reflects our truest selves, the selves we're meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
I can see how that would make us more receptive to those subtle spiritual calls.
Absolutely. True transformation, it comes from within. It comes from aligning ourselves with the divine will rather than conforming to external expectations.
Okay, now this next section, beyond the clock. This is where things get really mind-bending.
For sure.
I mean, think about how often we check our phones, our watches. We're obsessed with time, aren't we?
It's a defining feature of our modern world, this fixation on chronological time.
Yeah.
But the book invites us to consider a different kind of time, what the ancient Greeks called kairos.
Kairos, right?
Remember that moment when everything just seems to click? A perfect opportunity that seemed almost fated?
Oh, yeah.
That's kairos at work.
So it's not about quantity, but quality.
Exactly.
Not minutes ticking by, but the weight of a moment.
Yes. And the book points out that even the archaic Portuguese word for clock, horologio, it means both period and distance.
Oh, wow.
Like we're always trying to measure time instead of experiencing it.
No wonder we miss those kairos moments if we're too busy clock watching.
Exactly. And that focus on measurement, it can make us miss the subtle rhythms of spiritual development.
Mm-hmm.
Like a flower blossoming, you can't rush it.
Mm.
It unfolds in its own time in response to forces we may not even fully comprehend.
But how do we find those kairos moments? Are they just random? Or can we, cultivate them somehow?
The book suggests that by cultivating inner stillness, quieting the mind and opening our hearts, we become more attuned to the subtle whispers of the divine, those moments when eternity intersects with time, recognizing that everything has its season, and that by surrendering to a larger rhythm, we can find ourselves in the right place at the right time.
Trusting the process even when we can't see the whole picture?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, the section beyond belief really got me thinking. I mean, we often use the words belief and faith interchangeably, but the book draws a clear distinction.
It challenges us to move beyond mere intellectual assent to a deeper knowing that transcends belief.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever felt like your beliefs were more like boxes you check rather than a fire in your soul?
Yeah.
That's the difference book's pointing to.
So it's not just about saying you believe something. It's about knowing it in your bones, like a gut feeling you can't ignore.
Precisely. And this deeper knowing, this true faith, it isn't passive. It's not about blind acceptance, but about actively engaging with the divine.
Mm-hmm.
There's that fascinating detail about the Hebrew letter phi, representing both paradise and Diamouth. It suggests paradise isn't just a place, but a state of being.
Oh, wow.
Where wisdom is received directly, almost as if it's spoken into your soul.
That's beautiful. It makes me think of those moments when an idea or insight just clicks. Like it was whispered directly into your heart.
Mm-hmm.
And the book argues that true faith transcends morality, not by breaking rules, but by fulfilling them so completely they become unnecessary.
Exactly. Like a dancer who has mastered the technique so thoroughly that the steps disappear,
Right.
and the movement becomes pure expression.
But isn't that a bit risky? I mean, if we're not bound by rules, wouldn't that lead to chaos?
The book addresses that concern by emphasizing that true faith isn't about rejecting morality. It's about transcending it. Think of a light bulb filament. The filament stands between opposing forces, the positive and negative poles. And it's that tension that creates the light.
Okay.
True faith is like that filament, finding that point of balance where opposing forces are held in dynamic tension, allowing for a new reality to emerge.
So it's not about choosing one side over the other, but about finding that sweet spot where the energy flows freely, where the light can shine through.
Yes.
Which brings us to the hidden fast. This section really made me question my own relationship with technology and all the constant stimulation we're bombarded with.
It's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of information and entertainment, but the book reminds us that true spiritual growth requires creating space for silence,
Right.
for reflection, for deeper nourishment.
It's like we're so busy stuffing our minds with junk food that we leave no room for the nutrients our souls need to thrive. I love how the book connects this to the deeper meaning of Lent. It's not just about giving up chocolate or coffee, but about fasting from the mental and emotional junk food that clutters our minds
Exactly.
and prevents inner awareness.
And the book offers practical solutions.
Oh, good.
It outlines specific morning and evening practices that help us cultivate awareness and create space for transformation. These aren't elaborate rituals, just simple yet profound actions that can gradually shift our consciousness.
Do you think most people misunderstand the purpose of those practices?
I think it's easy to get caught up in the externals, focus on the form rather than the essence. But the book emphasizes that the real work is internal. It's about cultivating inner stillness, attentiveness, receptivity. The practices are simply tools to help us along the way.
That makes sense. It's not about the actions themselves, but about the inner state they cultivate. I love that the book doesn't just point out the problem, but it offers concrete solutions.
And it emphasizes that abstinence without intention is just empty space waiting to be filled with more of the same.
Right.
But when we consciously withdraw from distraction, we create fertile ground for something new to emerge.
So it's not just about giving things up, but about filling that space with something meaningful, something that nourishes the soul.
Exactly. It's about replacing distractions with practices that connect us to our true selves, to that divine spark within.
And that brings us to a section that's both comforting and a bit daunting. The sacred vessel. It explores the symbol of the ark, which appears throughout spiritual history, carrying ever deeper meaning.
Right.
Yes, from Noah's Ark to Moses' Ark to the Ark of the Covenant. It's just such a powerful image. But the book takes it even further, saying our own hearts are like arks, vessels carrying us toward divine realization.
It's fascinating, the emphasis on the connection between inner and outer transformation. The book uses the example of Christ's transfiguration on Mount Tabor, where his physical form radiated uncreated light. It's not just a miraculous event, but a glimpse into the potential that lies dormant within each of us.
Oh, right. And it wasn't just any 3 disciples who witnessed it. Peter, representing faith, James, justice, and John, love.
Exactly.
Those are some pretty heavy hitters. It seems like the author is saying we need to cultivate those qualities within ourselves for this kind of transformation to happen.
Exactly. The book argues that true transformation isn't about becoming someone else. It's about revealing the divine spark that's already present within us.
Like we're all rough diamonds. And the spiritual journey is about polishing away the imperfections to reveal the brilliance within.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And then there's the discussion of transubstantiation in this section, which really made me think. It's not just symbolic, is it? The book suggests that matter itself can be transformed by consciousness aligned with divine will.
Whoa, that's heavy stuff. It's like the alchemy of turning lead into gold, but on a spiritual level. So our participation in these sacred mysteries isn't just about going through the motions, but about allowing those rituals to actually change us from the inside out.
Precisely. It's about aligning our consciousness with a higher reality and allowing that divine energy to work through us.
So it's not just about what we believe, but about what we become through our participation in these sacred practices. Okay, on to the eternal within the temporal, a section that feels incredibly relevant in our fast-paced, achievement-obsessed culture.
Definitely.
I mean, how many of us are chasing after things that ultimately don't matter?
This section serves as a powerful reminder that worldly glory is fleeting. The book uses the image of the ancient Roman triumph where a slave would whisper, "Sic transit gloria mundi," thus passes the glory of the world, in the ear of the victorious general.
Wow.
It's a stark reminder that even the greatest achievements fade with time.
Wow, talk about a reality check. That image really puts things in perspective.
Yeah.
So the author is saying we often miss out on eternal truth because we're so focused on building our lives on foundations that will inevitably crumble.
Exactly. The book encourages us to build our lives on a more solid foundation, on the eternal truths that transcend the ups and downs of human existence.
But isn't that a bit escapist? I mean, we can't just ignore our responsibilities in the world.
The book isn't advocating for withdrawal from the world, but for a shift in perspective.
Okay.
It's about finding that point of balance where we can be fully engaged in the world while remaining rooted in something larger than ourselves.
So it's about living in both worlds simultaneously, honoring our human commitments while staying attuned to our divine calling.
I love that.
Now, this next section, Tongues of Eternal Flame, really sets our souls on fire.
Right.
It dives into the mystery of divine fire, that transformative power that descends upon us in moments of true spiritual awakening.
It uses the vivid imagery of Pentecost, the rushing wind, the tongues of fire descending, the disciples suddenly able to speak in other languages to highlight the transformative power of this experience.
Such a powerful image, and the book connects it to our own lives, suggesting that this kind of transformation isn't just a one-time event, but a possibility that exists in every moment.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that the divine spark isn't something we need to acquire, but something we need to awaken. The Pentecost experience, the descent of divine fire, is a possibility in every moment if we're open to it.
That's so inspiring. So it's not about seeking something outside ourselves, but about realizing what's already present within us.
Precisely. It's about becoming a vessel for that divine fire, allowing it to transform us from the inside out. And the book doesn't shy away from the intensity of this transformation. It talks about the soul becoming red hot with God.
Wow.
Not destroyed, but purified, refined, like gold in a fire.
I love that image. It reminds me of that saying, the only way out is through. We can't bypass the fire. We have to walk through it to be transformed. But it's not about becoming emotionless or detached, is it?
No, it's about allowing our emotions to be purified and refined by that divine fire.
Okay.
Becoming expressions of love rather than reactions to the world around us.
So it's like our passions become fuel for the fire, rather than something that burns us up.
Exactly. And the book connects this transformative fire to the experience of prayer. It talks about prayer fire, where it's no longer us praying, but the Spirit praying through us.
Okay, that gives me chills. It's like we become instruments of the divine, allowing that higher power to flow through us and express itself in the world. I've definitely had moments in prayer where it felt like something bigger was taking over. Is that what the author's talking about?
Yes. The book suggests that when we surrender to the divine, our individual consciousness merges with the universal consciousness, and we become channels for that transformative energy.
So it's not about dictating our desires to God, but about aligning ourselves with God's will and allowing that divine energy to work through us.
Precisely. And the book connects this idea to the rushing wind of Pentecost, that influx of divine energy, the pneuma, that animates all creation.
Wow.
It reminds us that we're not separate from this divine force, but participants in it, co-creators with the divine.
That's such a mind-blowing concept. So it's not just about receiving divine grace, but about becoming channels for that grace to flow through us and into the world.
Mm-hmm.
We're not passive recipients, but active participants in the unfolding of the divine plan. That's a huge responsibility.
And with that responsibility comes the need for community. The book uses the gathering in the upper room as a template for the spiritual community. It's not about losing our individuality, but about finding our true fulfillment in unity, like individual flames merging into a single powerful fire.
I love that analogy. So it's about holding on to our unique spark while also recognizing our interconnectedness, our shared participation in that divine flame. It's like a choir where each voice is distinct, yet they all blend together to create something beautiful and harmonious.
A perfect analogy. And the book goes on to discuss the gifts of the Spirit, not as special abilities, but as aspects of divine consciousness awakening within us, like facets of a diamond, each one reflecting a different aspect of that same divine light.
So it's not about becoming superhuman, but about realizing our full human potential, allowing those divine qualities to shine through us in our own unique ways. We each have our own unique gifts to share, our own part to play in the symphony of creation. But the book also talks about becoming living signatures of divine presence. What does that even mean? Is that something we can actually achieve in this lifetime?
The book suggests that it's not about achieving some distant goal, but about embodying that divine presence in every moment, in every action, in every interaction. It's about becoming so infused with that divine energy that it radiates outward from us, touching and transforming everyone we encounter.
So it's less about what we do and more about who we are becoming through this process of transformation. And it's an ongoing process, right? Not a destination we arrive at, but a path we walk day by day.
Exactly. It's a journey of continual unfolding, of ever-deepening connection with the divine source that animates us all. And the book reminds us that this journey isn't meant to be traveled alone. We need each other's support, encouragement, and inspiration.
We need to create communities where we can share our experiences, learn from each other, and hold each other accountable. And the book offers some really practical advice on how to do that.
Yes, it emphasizes the importance of creating sacred spaces where we can gather, pray, study, and support each other on this journey of transformation.
So it's not just about reading the book and having these amazing insights, but about putting those insights into action, creating real-world communities where we can live out these teachings and support each other's growth. That's what's so exciting about this book. It's not just theory, it's a call to action.
Absolutely. The book is a blueprint for creating a new way of being in the world, a way of living that's rooted in love, compassion, and the realization of our interconnectedness.
And it's a message that feels incredibly relevant to our modern world, a world that's often consumed by darkness and division. This book offers a path toward healing, a way to bridge those divides, and to create a future where that divine light can truly shine through.
It's a book that invites multiple readings, each time revealing new depths of meaning and insight.
It feels like we're being called to step into our power, to become living embodiments of that divine love.
The book is definitely a call to action. It's about recognizing the potential within ourselves and then actively working to cultivate it, to become channels for that transformative energy to flow through us and into the world.
And it's not about achieving some kind of superhuman status, but about realizing our full human potential, right? It's about allowing those divine qualities to shine through us in our own unique ways.
Exactly. It's about becoming living signatures of divine presence, as the book puts it.
Right.
It's about allowing that divine spark within us to ignite and illuminate the world around us. And the book reminds us that this transformation isn't something we achieve on our own, but something we participate in together, as a community, as a collective expression of that divine spark that unites us all.
So we need each other. We need to support each other, learn from each other, and hold each other accountable. We need to create communities where we can share our experiences and inspire each other to keep growing.
Yes. The book emphasizes the importance of creating sacred spaces where we can gather, pray, study, and support each other on this journey of transformation.
This deep dive has been amazing. The Salt of the Earth is a book that challenges us to go beyond our comfortable beliefs and to step into the fire of transformation, to become the living flames of divine love that the world so desperately needs.
It's a book that stays with you long after you finish reading it, a book that continues to spark insights and to ignite the flame of transformation within us. It's a book that reminds us that we are all connected, that we all share in that divine spark, and that we all have the power to become living flames of divine love.
And it's a message that feels incredibly relevant to our modern world, a world that's often consumed by darkness and division.
For sure.
This book offers a path toward healing, a way to bridge those divides and to create a future where that divine light can truly shine through.
It really invites multiple readings each time, revealing new depths of meaning and insight.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to hear from you. What resonated with you most from the Salt of the Earth? What challenged your thinking?
Yeah, what really stuck with you?
Share your insights with us on social media.
And let's keep this conversation going.
Definitely.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the Salt of the Earth. May the insights we've explored together continue to inspire you on your own unique journey of spiritual awakening and transformation.
Until next time, keep diving deep, keep seeking truth, and keep shining brightly.
It really invites multiple readings, each time revealing new depths of meaning and insight.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to hear from you. What resonated with you most from the Salt of the Earth? What challenged your thinking?
Yeah, what really stuck with you?
Share your insights with us on social media, and let's keep this conversation going.
Definitely. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the salt of the earth. May the insights we've explored together continue to inspire you on your own unique journey of spiritual awakening and transformation.
Until next time, keep diving deep, keep seeking truth, and keep shining brightly.